This is Julien, and I'm here in Bucharest, in Romania, and this week's book is Linchpin, Are You Indispensable? By Seth Godin. And this book actually goes along the lines of the last two that we did, and funny enough, it's also a book that I read a few years back that has tremendously influenced the way I go about things, the way I view the world, and the way I think. Okay, and this one touches on how our current system, once more, is flawed. It's falling apart. It's a mess. You know, we've been brainwashed for 100 years into fitting in, following instructions, exchanging a day's work for a day's pay, and that era is over. And unlike, say, the education of millionaires that touches on how this has affected our school system or our education, or the thank you economy, which touches on how this has affected business and marketing, in this book, he touches on how this has affected you, okay? Your position, the way you should view your work, the way you should go about work, how to develop more of an entrepreneurial mindset, and as always, enjoy. So I thought I'd start off with what Seth Godin calls the take care of you bargain. Okay, and what he says is that our world is filled with factories. These factories need workers, and if you can learn to be one of these workers, for example, pay attention in school, follow instructions, show up on time, and try hard, we will take care of you. Okay, the system will provide. You won't have to take risks. You won't have to think outside the box. You won't have to be brilliant. You won't have to be creative. You can simply follow this set of instructions. Okay, just do as you're told, and you will be safe. Okay, and this bargain is so seductive that for a century we've embraced it and it worked. Okay, and when I say it's so seductive, it really is. I mean, we're all scared. We all just wish like someone could give us a map, give us a plan, and just tell us what to do. It's like, hey, do this and you won't have to worry ever again. Okay, the system will provide, you will be safe, your job will last you the rest of your life, and you can just mindlessly follow these instructions and you are good. Okay, offer that to anyone, give it to me please. Okay, even now, like you probably have worries in life, like what about this? What if this is gonna happen? If someone could just give me a set of instructions, please, please, please. That's what we want, okay? However, okay, and this is the interesting part, in the face of competition and technology, the bargain has fallen apart, okay? People are no longer being taken care of, and we talked about this in the last two books as well, okay? We're in a huge cultural shift with the internet, so on and so forth, where you may go to college, you may do as you're told, but then you're no longer guaranteed a job after that. Or you may get a job, but guess what? Job security is dead. You're probably not gonna keep that job your entire life, okay? And during times of change, okay, during this time here, being a compliant, low-paid, replaceable cog, because that's really, I mean, what you're being trained to do here. It's like, just be an interchangeable person, because that's what factories need. You need interchangeable parts, interchangeable people, okay? Cheap and replaceable. That's the fucking ideal. That there's the last thing that we need, okay? The obedient worker bought into a sucker's deal. The educated, hardworking masses are still doing what they're told, but no longer getting what they deserve, okay? And that there's a new bargain now, and it's a wonderful opportunity. Okay, you may hear this and be freaking out like, oh my God, everything's going to shit. It's not, okay? This is actually good, and the new bargain is one that leverages talent, creativity, and art more than it rewards obedience, okay? So there's a mental shift you're gonna have to make. You're gonna have to snap out of this obedient, compliant, state of mind of just looking for instructions to follow. And if you wanna succeed, because that no longer works, it's going to force you right now to start tapping into your inner genius. Okay, you're gonna have to start thinking outside the box, start taking risks, and this really is the message of this book here. Okay, what we need now is indispensable human beings. Okay, original thinkers, provocateurs, people who care. We need artists. Okay, people with a genius for finding a new answer, a new connection, or a new way of getting things done. And he made a book called Purple Cow. Okay, if you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend it as well. And what he talks about in that book is that a purple cow is basically a product worth talking about. And in this book here with Linchpin, okay, a linchpin is a person worth finding and keeping. Okay, this is the message, and every organization needs a linchpin, the person who can bring it all together and make a difference. Okay, a person who's made that mental shift. Now, how, okay, did we get all brainwashed into burying our genius, give up on our dreams, so on and so forth? And a big one is thank you for protecting us from our fears. Okay, this is huge, because you may think, well, how the fuck did for 100 years we embrace this bargain? How did we get brainwashed into becoming these replaceable cogs? Well, the big one is just fucking fear. You know, we're all scared and we're all just tired and we're just all hoping for someone to tell us what to do. Okay, no matter who you are, right now you're exhausted. You're exhausted and you're scared. And once again, okay, it's like, hey, follow these instructions. You don't have to think. You don't have to be responsible for any decision. You don't have to bring your genius to work. You know, it's very bland, yeah, but it's very safe and it's not emotionally taxing, you know. People don't want to figure things out for themselves, and people want to be asleep versus making decisions, okay? Most of us are asleep. If you want to test this theory, just walk outside your house right now, or if you're watching this on your phone, just pause the video, look around you, and you're going to see people are fucking asleep, okay? You're not going to look around and see a whole society of people smiling, active, creative, just generating more output. You're going to see people just kind of down on their phone, just mindlessly going about their days. They're like walking down the street, like head down, going through the motions. Okay, if you're on a bus, people are on their cell phones, going through the motions. It's very bland. Okay, people are fucking asleep. Welcome to the world of today. But fortunately, okay, because of this, things are going to slowly start changing. Average is over. Okay, writes this down too. Our world no longer respects or pays for people or cogs in a giant machine, and no longer are any great jobs where someone tells you what to do. Okay, if that's what you want, don't be surprised if that's what you fucking get. Okay, now when you hear this, the first objection is, well, you know, can I become indispensable? It's like, what if I don't have any genius? What if I'm not an artist? And you may be thinking that. Okay, guess what? You've embraced the bargain. You've been brainwashed into that. And it's really gone deep, deep, deep into your psyche where, guess what? You may not even remember what it's like to feel alive, to be creative, to have any kind of genius. Okay, and what he says to this is that, first of all, other people have done this before you. Okay, it's not impossible. Other people that are just as quote unquote bland as you think you are right now, they've done it. Okay, and what another person can do, you can do as well. We're all cut from the same fucking cloth. And another one is people who have made this transition have nothing on you. Okay, it's not magical talents here. It's not, again, just who you are. It's something that you develop. Okay, you're not born a linchpin. You become a linchpin. And you know, he says he's never met anyone with no art in them, except that oftentimes it's buried deep inside. Okay, and kids have genius. Okay, and that's the big one too. It's like, hey, you've done this before. You know, you've had genius before. You've been creative before. You've been brilliant before. You were like when you were a fucking kid. Okay, when you were a kid, you had this spark, except that somewhere along the way, you know, we started looking for a place to hide where no one will discover how truly mediocre we are. Okay, we started to want steady work, mediocre work, and we didn't want to stand out anymore. Okay, suddenly we developed a little ego. We might have been hurt for this brilliance, let's just say, or for this genius, and we've slowly just repressed it more and more and more. Okay, but a big one is you've done it before. You've physically proven to yourself that you've done it once, okay? Even if as a kid, okay, you've done it once, you can do it again. He also talks about the old American dream versus the new American dream, okay? And this is just another way of viewing it, where the old American dream is keep your head down, follow instructions, show up on time, work hard, suck it up, and you will be rewarded, okay? And as we've just discussed, that dream is over. And the new American dream is instead be remarkable, be generous, create art, make judgment calls, connect people and ideas, and then we have no choice but to reward you. Okay, and this is the huge shift you have to make. Instead of just following the instructions to be rewarded, create a situation for yourself where, okay, the organization, your boss, the world, has no fucking choice but to reward you. Okay, and a question you can ask yourself, no matter what job you're working right now, is what would make you impossibly good at your job? Okay, if your organization had to replace you with someone else far better at your job than you, what would they look for? Okay, and I doubt they look for someone who's just willing to work more hours or someone who could score better on a standardized test. They would look for someone with those attributes, someone who's more remarkable, someone who is more generous, someone who creates art. Okay, and notice how I say they are attributes, not talents. Okay, you have access to these. You're not just born with them, it's a choice. You can choose to be more generous right now. You can choose to put in more effort. Okay, and with the more effort, this is big. Okay, he says 3 words that can kill an entire organization are not my job. Okay, and this is big, okay? Whenever you have to do something, let's just say, that's outside of the box, or something that's not just following the instructions, huge resistance is, well, hey, it's not my job. It's not what I'm paid to do, so why do it? But if you want to stand out, if you want to create that situation for yourself where you are indispensable, start doing things that are not your fucking job, okay? Start doing more and more and more. That's how you stand out, and don't buy into what he calls the boss's lie, and that is, I want someone who does as I say. You know, if you ask your boss, like, what are you looking for in an employee? They're going to tell you, I just wish I could find someone who, whatever I tell them to do, they do it. They follow the instructions. They follow what I tell them to do. For me, that's a model employee. It's perfect. And they probably believe it. But, okay, ask yourself then, why is it that the stars in a company are the ones who break those rules? Okay, those are the people who stand out. Those are the people they're actually looking for, okay? People who can take initiative, people who put themselves out there and not these mindless drones, okay? And this is big. Whatever you're working at right now, how can you do more, okay? How can you step out of your job description? How can you place yourself, okay, in that position where you are indispensable? This is what I did when I started working in terms of teaching dating advice, okay? I started assisting in the beginning, and I would travel around and help out on these dating programs. Now, my job in terms of assisting was to help out, okay? And guess what? If I just followed all of those instructions, like, hey, go do this, go help me with this, let's coach this person, help me with the seminar, help me set this up, so on and so forth, it'd be good, but I would not be here today, okay? What did I do? I started creating a situation for myself where just in terms of being hired, okay, officially hired, the company didn't have a choice but to hire me. Okay, I made myself indispensable. So I started thinking outside the box. Instead of, say, traveling around and helping with the filming, okay, we'd be doing these videos at the time, and I would help set up the camera and film a few of the first videos. I would start filming myself, okay? I'd start making videos as well. I wasn't paid to make the videos. I didn't have to make the videos, but I started putting them out, okay? People started watching the videos. People started slowly knowing who I was. I started creating a brand. People started to want to work with me. If I was helping out on a live program, instead of just sitting back or helping out some of the logistics of the program, I would actually help the teaching, okay? And multiple students, okay, or clients, let's just say, wanted to be taught by me. And they'd be like, oh my God, that was so awesome. Yeah, it was a great program. I especially loved when Julien told me to do this and help me with this. Suddenly, the organization's like, whoa, people actually love working with this guy. People are actually demanding to work with this guy. Okay, in terms of who I am too, it's like, whoa, this guy starts thinking outside the box. This guy's a hustler. This guy is taking initiative. This guy really wants it, okay? And that is what successful organizations are really looking for. They're not looking for someone who they can just, again, here's the script, here's the manual. They want someone who can push it forward, okay? So it's a win-win here. It's like you push it forward and they just don't have a choice, okay? After a while, at a huge brand, I recorded an entire live program myself, okay, for free. It's like, hey, I have this live program, I'm ready to go. All you have to do is hire me. I can travel around, teach this. People know who I am, people will sign up. I have the program, I've experienced teaching, I've proven it before. Hire me, done. And it wasn't like, should we? It's, well, he created this situation where you don't have a fucking choice, okay? It's win-win, and start doing that too, okay? Whatever you're working at here, it's like, okay, what could you do right now so it'd be close to quote unquote impossible for your organization to fire you? How can you make yourself indispensable? And it always involves doing more than your job. And this is something that you can start cultivating right now, okay? Don't wait till you have that opportunity and say there's a job you want and you're like, oh my God, it's time to make myself indispensable. Okay, what can I do that's more than my job? Start doing this now. Okay, this should be a way of being. It's something that you just do all the time. I didn't wait till I was in that situation to suddenly become indispensable. I was working on becoming indispensable throughout the previous years. Okay, if I was working at that coffee store, the Coffee Bean, I'd start doing more than my job. Okay, it was a muscle I just slowly started building, and then when I was in that situation of the job I actually wanted, it just naturally happened. Okay, I didn't turn it on, let's just say. And what he says here too is that when you start bringing this passion, okay, you start thinking outside the box, you start kind of loving this way of being, you're going to start enjoying your job a lot more as well. And a huge distinction to make here is that passion isn't project specific, okay, it's people specific. People are doing art, okay, or being creative or brilliant in every job you can imagine, okay? For example, if you're like, oh, I'm working at a coffee place here too, it's so boring, it's not what I'm passionate about, how can I start doing all this? How can I bring art? You can, okay? Start getting creative there too, okay? Get hooked on passion, okay? Not on the specific job, hooked on fucking passion. Start driving a sense of self from the act of being passionate, okay? And what you'll notice here too is that, again, you're just gonna start loving it, okay? No matter what your job is, you start hustling, you start getting, again, putting more challenges on yourself, going outside of your way, you're gonna start enjoying it, and then of course it will lead to bigger and bigger things. Now, this is scary, okay? You're like, oh my God, it's so much effort, it's quite scary, but in reality, it's the safest thing to do, okay? Being indispensable, that's how you can guarantee, let's just say, you have a job. It's not following the instructions, it's creating the situation for yourself, okay? Be the person who holds part of the organization together. Without it, it falls apart. And don't get sucked into, okay, and this is big with, you know, viewing like the linchpin as this glorious thing. Like we tend to think, okay, well the CEOs are the linchpin, you know, like with Amazon, it's Jeff Bezos, with Apple, it was Steve Jobs, so on and so forth. It could just be, okay, even in a small organization like, you know, the example he uses in the book here is a vegetable stand. If you go there, okay, guess what? The linchpin could just be the owner of that stand or the person who works there, the person that makes you go there, even though there are cheaper options at a big supermarket. You still go there because of that person. If that person leaves, you're gonna go to the supermarket, okay? That person is a linchpin, okay? Wherever you work, you can become a linchpin, okay? And it's never over, okay? I did this, for example, to get hired, okay, in terms of teaching and dating advice, but also throughout the years of working there, okay? What did I start doing? I started building my brand massively, okay? I started pushing it hard to the point where I wanted more and more demand from me than anyone else, okay? Suddenly, guess what? I became indispensable, okay? I became one of the biggest brands, you know, and people were like, oh my God, they started associating the company even with my name. Now I'm fully indispensable. I became, in a way, a linchpin, okay? Now, obviously, no one is ever 100% indispensable, okay? Be realistic, but that there should be your goal, okay? Think outside the box, do new things. That's what I started doing, okay? I started pushing on new things in terms of the content I was putting out, in terms of the videos I was putting out, in terms of all of the programs I was doing, okay? Even launching different products. I was never told to launch any products. This was all me being creative, okay? Just launching into new things. And funny enough too, and this is one of the big plus sides I had from doing this type of work, is that the way the company was built and structured, there weren't any instructions really. You know, if you look at the company, it's Real Social Dynamics. It's pretty much like a platform, and then everyone who works for that company is their own brand. And it's kind of up to you. You know, you can choose to not do much and you'll have a smaller brand. You can choose to hustle a lot, but there's no instructions. It's not like, okay, well, this is your job description. Here's what you have to do. It's, well, you're hired. What are you going to do with this? Here's the platform. Here are the resources. Do it. And it kind of shocked me at first. Like I remember the first time I started traveling, I was like, oh my God, like what? I'm here, I have to do this myself? What do I do? There's no map. And it kind of forces you to take on this mindset here, okay? And a big part of it too, okay, and he talks a lot about this, is emotional labor, not physical labor. And this is the hard work of doing art, okay? Producing generosity, exposing creativity. And most of us, we focus on our craft, thinking that this is the hard stuff and this is what will get us ahead. For example, working harder, okay, putting in more hours. But what he says is that if you focus on your craft, anyone can do that. Instead, focus on the more important work, which is that emotional labor, okay? Focusing on improving your craft won't necessarily get you ahead. Be smarter, okay? For example, emotional labor is when you're facing an infinite sea of choices, picking the right one, okay? That there is what makes you stand out. That's emotional labor. Working without a map versus asking for a map or begging for instructions. That's what makes you indispensable. Linchpins are able to embrace the lack of structure and find new paths that work, okay? And it's kind of dealing with this chaos, dealing with these nuances, dealing with the unknown, remaining grounded, you know, knowing how to navigate through these waters, okay? That's emotional labor. It's a lot more valuable. And understand too, okay, especially in the times that we live in, that there is no more map. Okay, most likely there will never be a map again. There's no step-by-step plan. There's no way to avoid blame every now and then. Okay, and if it wasn't a mystery, let's just say, it would be easy to do and wouldn't be worth much. Okay, so embrace the fact that it's hard. Embrace taking responsibility. And once again, this is a muscle you build. Start small, okay? Start now, and then kind of build it over time. But emotional labor is something you have to invest in. I mean, yeah, huge. No one really cares how hard you've worked, okay? It's not an effort contest, it's an art contest. That's where you stand out. Real artists too, and this is a huge concept he talks about in a lot of his books, is ship, okay? Real artists ship, and shipping, for example, is just putting it out, okay? It's finishing. The only reason you start is to finish. And a lot of us have ideas. We have all these great ideas. You may be inspired now. Even watching this video, you're probably inspired. Like, whoa, you know what? I'm gonna start doing more than my job description. I'm gonna start thinking outside the box. I'm gonna start being indispensable. I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. And then you don't do it, okay? And if you don't do it, it doesn't mean shit. Start taking action on it, start putting it out. Even in terms of different products, different concepts, ship them, okay? Put them out there, and that's one of the hardest things to do. We all have a lot of resistance in terms of getting it out there, and we all feel too like, oh, I just only want to put it out if it's perfect. Okay, that's huge in terms of, say, being an artist. And what he says is that shipping isn't about producing masterpieces. However, all masterpieces get shipped, okay? And there's a great shortage in our society here, and that's an instinct to produce. Start producing. The discipline of shipping is essential. And even if, for example, it compromises some of your work, okay, at least you get in the habit of putting it out versus all of your work being, you know, just lying in a box somewhere. And I love this one too. Okay, remember this or write it down. You're not going to have any good ideas if you're not willing to have any bad ideas. Okay, you have to go through, you know, the bad ones to get that one genius one out there. But this is a habit you build. Put it out, put it out, put it out. Okay. The ideas aren't the hard part, it's the shipping that's the hard part to do. He then goes deep on resistance and fear, okay, and I'd recommend reading the book for that. Another great book that talks about this is Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art, and some interesting things with resistance here, which we all experience. We're addicted to comforts, we're addicted to just remaining the same, and when you start thinking outside the box, putting yourself out there, especially in terms of making art, putting your personality, or taking responsibility, is you're going to encounter a lot of fucking resistance. And the interesting one is, he says the internet is crack cocaine for resistance. And you probably realize this, like, you know, if you're, like, say you're resisting this project, you're going to find yourself online surfing the web more than before. So you can kind of monitor it. If you're online surfing, like, oh, what am I resisting to do right now? What am I avoiding? Strip away anything that looks productive, but that doesn't involve shipping. Okay, this is big. We distract ourselves with things like, oh, I'm doing this productive task. I'm checking my email. Hey, if it's not producing or putting anything out there or moving your project in the direction of producing, nuke it, okay? Resistance also sets up unachievable goals, okay? Like we'll psych ourselves out and we're like, why bother? I'm probably not gonna make it anyway, okay? The importance of slowly, gradually building that muscle. And also, another one is maximizing your output. Okay, learning how to start giving just for the sake of giving, and this goes hand in hand with it. Okay, another huge mental shift you have to make. As human beings, we tend to maximize the input and minimize the output. Here, start maximizing the output. Okay, and get hooked on it. Today, you know, we get, we don't give. Okay, that has to change. Winners are artists who give their gifts, okay? They put it out there, and that's what makes you indispensable, and that's what earns you respect and attention, okay? It's not holding back, it's not hoarding. If you have great ideas, people are like, oh, I don't want to put them out there, people are gonna steal them, you know, people could judge me, then I have nothing more to give. It's like, no, start believing in abundance and output, okay? And really just give to give without expecting that return, okay? As we discussed in last week's book, intent matters. You know, most people have no art in their life because they want something in return. Huge. The system that we live in, it's like take, kills art. And because there's that ulterior motive, okay, like what's in it for me, people just don't like it either. It really just sabotages all your efforts, okay? And another thought, and you can catch yourself on this one, is why would I put in more effort if I'm not getting anything in return? Okay, and in reality, you will if you let go of that outcome and just put in the more effort just for the sake of putting in more effort. You know, it keeps you engaged. Even by pushing yourself so hard, you can kind of get lost in the amount of action you're taking and achieve a kind of stillness. You know, this is huge. I do this all the time. You know, it's like I just put enough work where there's like, you know, a certain challenge, and then it just keeps my mind engaged. That's what I'm addicted to. And it's not what I get, it's like the giving. That's what even makes me feel good. It's that output, that sharing, that expansion. So work on that as well. Okay, huge. And then some last thoughts here to kind of conclude. Really, okay, he hammers on this point, linchpins are made, not born. You can be a linchpin now. You have talent inside you, but, okay, you're gonna have to start now and start building it. Another one too that we touched on before is transferring your passion to your job is far easier than finding a job that happens to match your passion. Okay, if you can't bring passion to your job right now, even if you quote unquote hate your job, you think it's boring, it's not what you want to do, if you can't summon that passion now, what makes you think you're gonna be able to summon it when you get that job you think you will be passionate about? Okay, there's that saying, wherever you go, there you are. That'll happen. Superficially, you may think, I just need this job to finally be passionate. And you might get that initial spark, but okay, this is a way of being. If your way of being now is not being passionate, you'll have that initial spark, but then you'll just get sucked in to following the rules and just experiencing what you're experiencing now. Okay, guess what? I could have told myself, you know what? I'm just gonna be passionate when I start doing this. You know, when I start teaching dating advice, putting self-help content out there, helping people, that's when I'm gonna be passionate. But, okay, what's the other route I could have gone? I could have gotten hired and then just followed the rules. Guess what? I'd be in the same fucking position as if I was, say, working at a coffee place I wasn't passionate about either. Okay, same position, do it now. Big one too, okay, we talked about this, okay, in terms of building this leverage for you to do so. Being a linchpin's a choice, and just be a linchpin once, okay, to prove to yourself that you can do it, and then do it again every single day. Okay, you've done it once in the past, and don't overblow it, okay? It could just be small things. Ask yourself now, okay, when was I a linchpin? Oh, in this case I was. In this little project I was, and just start doing it every single day. Make it a habit, make it a way of being, build that muscle, okay? Keep challenging yourself, or you will lose it, okay? You just keep that pressure on yourself, and with this mental shift, you'll be much happier, you will be indispensable. People will have no choice but to reward you. You will, you know, acquire, let's say, or achieve that job security in a way. But this is really what this book is about. He goes in way further depth. Highly recommend checking it out. Massively effective the way I go about things. So yeah, okay, start being a linchpin. Choose right now. Okay, is this something you're gonna do? Start now. Start shipping even after this fucking video. Write it out. What are you gonna do differently that's not part of your fucking job description? Okay, so let me know what you thought of this video in the comments here below. Check the comments as well for next week's book. And as always, until next time.